If Flaubert was the dictator imposing silence, James Joyce is the anarchist instigating a riot. In analyzing Ulysses, we are no longer dealing with a novel in the strict 19th century sense. We are dealing with a textual monster that swallows the entire history of the English language. From an architectonic perspective, Ulysses represents the explosion of the Galaxian Galaxy, the moment where the unified literary language shatters into a billion fragments. It is a radical experiment in heteroglossia, social diversity of speech types, but one that risks drowning the human subject in a flood of technique. First, we must define the chronotope. In Crime and Punishment, the chronotope was the threshold, the moment of crisis. In Madame Bovary, it was the viscous time of provincial boredom. In Ulysses, the chronotope is the modern city within a single day. This is a crucial structural shift. The time is microscopic, 24 hours are expanded to epic proportions. The space is the labyrinth of the street, the pub, the newspaper office, and the brothel. The city here is not just a setting, it is the primary generator of discourse. The characters do not speak in a vacuum, they are bombarded by the noise of the city, advertising slogans, newspaper headlines, songs, political speeches. Joyce understands what Flaubert tried to hide, that modern consciousness is not a unified whole, but a ragbag of external voices. Leopold Bloom's mind is a sponge absorbing the debris of Dublin. The character of Leopold Bloom is a triumph of the anti-heroic. He is the antithesis of Raskolnikov. He has no idea force. He is not trying to become Napoleon. He is the biological man. We see him eating inner organs, defecating, masturbating, dodging creditors. This is a return to Rabelaisian realism, the focus on the lower bodily stratum. However, unlike Rabelais giants, Bloom is isolated. He represents the atomization of the modern subject. He is profoundly alone in the crowd. His internal monologue is not a dialogue with a specific other, as in Dostoevsky, but a free associative drift. It is a recording of the neural pathways. While technically brilliant, this technique sometimes threatens to turn the hero into a mere vessel for sensory input, lacking the intense ethical core we find in Dostoevsky. The structural center of the novel's dialogism, and its most chaotic point, is the Circe episode. This is carnival in its purest, most hallucinatory form. Here, the laws of physics and logic are suspended. The distinction between the internal thought and the external event collapses. Bloom transforms into a woman, a king, a baby. He is put on trial, he is worshipped, he is humiliated. This is the grotesque. It destroys the hierarchical seriousness of the day. It exposes the hidden subconscious drives. In this chapter, Joyce achieves what Flaubert could not. He allows the messy, ugly, contradictory truth of the human psyche to stage a scandalous play. It is the death of the unitary ego. However, we must be rigorous in our critique of Joyce's stylization. In the middle chapters, Joyce parodies the entire history of English prose styles, from Latinate incantations to medieval morality, to Dickens, to modern slang. This is a display of polyglossia that borders on the narcissistic. The author is playing a game. He is saying, look, I can write in any voice. But in doing so, the voices of Bloom and Stephen Dedalus are suffocated. They become mannequins dressed in historical costumes. The style becomes the protagonist, and the characters become secondary. This is a danger. When the author's encyclopedic ambition takes over, the dialogic interaction between souls stops, and the text becomes a puzzle to be solved by intellectuals. It ceases to be a living event and becomes a museum of language. We must also address the Penelope episode. This is the final word of the text. It is an unpunctuated flow of female consciousness. Critics call it life-affirming. Structurally, it is the dissolution of syntax. It represents the pre-logic, the earth, the flow of nature. It contrasts sharply with the hyper-intellectualism of Stephen and the scientific curiosity of Bloom. However, is this a true other voice? Or is it Joyce constructing a mythical version of the woman? It feels suspiciously finalized. Molly is the static earth to Bloom's wandering wanderer. While the flow is impressive, it risks reducing the female subject to pure biology, devoid of the ideological sharpness found in Dostoevsky's women. The verdict: Ulysses is a monumental achievement of centrifugal force. It tears the novel apart. It proves that in the modern world, a single, authoritative language is impossible. We live in a world of fragments. Joyce captures this fragmentation perfectly. However, unlike Dostoevsky, who unified these fragments through the moral tension between subjects, Joyce unifies them through mythic structure and linguistic virtuosity. The connection between characters is tenuous. Bloom and Stephen meet, but they do not truly merge or change each other, they drift past one another like ships in the night. The dialogue fails. The loneliness remains. Therefore, Ulysses is the encyclopedia of subjectivity, but it is not a true polyphonic community. It is a solipsism of two, trapped in the labyrinth of the city, bound together only by the author's colossal web of words. It is a text to be studied, decoded, and marveled at, but it lacks the open-ended, ethical urgency of the Dostoevskian dialogue. It is the supreme novel of the isolated consciousness.